Hey everybody, Bonnie Donahue here. Welcome to another episode of Storytime with Essential Oils for Moms. I'm the founder of Essential Oils for Moms on Facebook and BonnieDonahue.com, and I'm just really excited. This is like one of our top episodes that we've all been waiting for because this girl's been mentioned on 3 of the episodes already so far. And one of my really good friends, I want to introduce one of my friends, Nikita Lynne. Okay, and so she and I, we go back about 13 years or so. We met because, well, I had Jenny on earlier. Jenny was my boss, and that was her sister. And also, Jenny was my next door neighbor. And then Nicci and I were pregnant together at the same time. And so we connected and we became friends. And then because of Facebook, we stayed connected all this time. And Nicci has an awesome, everything she does in her life is really amazing. And so I, of course, was attracted to her and everything that she does and everything that she puts out there. And I wanted her to join with essential oils right when I first got started. And I asked her, and a hard no from her, not interested. But then time went on and she started using the oils and she totally had a change of heart. I'm going to let her share that story. And then I know we haven't really talked about ranks in these videos so far, but this girl is one of the fastest growing advocates in the company and on our team. So she hit silver her first month, gold her second month, platinum her third month, and then diamond in her 11th month in the business. And she is rocking all of this from home, homeschooling her 8 kids. She's like literally on fire. Her team is growing. She just got back from a free trip to the Dominican. They have huge
Amazing.
I know, it was awesome. And her and her husband brewed up a lot of awesome plans and goals for their family while they were there. I cannot say enough about Nicci, what she's doing in doTERRA and in her business. Is just inspiring to so many women who are on her team, women who are just following her journey. She's really changing lives. Now I'm getting all the sun on my face. So we are really excited to hear from you, Nicci. Her main goal, her main goal has always been to help inspire women, which I just think that this is just natural flow for her, that she just always has women asking, how do you do this? How do you do that? And she just has such an abundance mindset, but just such a caring, giving back mentality that she's like, who can I help today? And I feel like because of that, she's been just blessed, and everyone that comes on her team is blessed, and she just really pays attention to detail. She helps others. She believes in every single person on her team. We've already heard from 3 of them on your team, and just awesome things to say about you. So we are so excited to have you on here. I'm excited. I know this is going to be one of the probably most replayed videos, episodes. Nicci, they're going to be learning from you. So thank you for getting on, and thank you for sharing your story. And I'm just going to let you kind of take it over and just kind of share who you are, what you guys are about, and how you got into oils.
Awesome. Thank you, Bonnie. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for asking me to come on. So I'm Nikita Lynne. I'm a wife of like more years than I want to admit because it makes me feel old. My husband and I will celebrate 17 years in April. So we've been married for 17 years. He's my high school sweetheart. So we've been together for over 2 decades.
Awesome.
Pretty much grown up together, which, you know, Bonnie, I mean, when we met each other, we were still fairly young. And of course, you know, you were pregnant with your first and I was pregnant with my second. It was kind of cool experience.
With babies having babies.
I know. We've been having babies. Like that's been our full-time job for the last 15 years. So I'm a mama of 8. So our oldest is 15. He'll be 16 at the end of this year, which is insane because there's times where I'm like, I'm still 16, right? Or close to it. And I'm like, yeah, maybe not. So our oldest is 15, and then we have a 12-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So we basically have a baby every year.
Yeah.
And I remember actually meeting Bonnie. I think at the time your mom had 8, maybe 9.
Okay. Okay.
Because Bonnie,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's 12
and
kids in my family. So we instantly knew.
yes, and it's funny because like so I was pregnant with my second, and at that point like 4 was a big family to me. So when I met Bonnie and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm the oldest of like 8," and I'm like, 8 kids, like that's insane. Like who has 8 kids
Right.
nowadays? And of course now I'm with 8 kids. So
Yeah.
um, so we homeschool, and so Bonnie's parents actually did some homeschooling as well. So that was kind of cool as well that we've kind of stayed in touch with. And we own some acreage in the rural Midwest in Illinois, which is funny because you say Illinois and people just automatically think you're from Chicago. And I'm like, there's a whole nother state like south
Right.
of that. So we're in like the rural parts of Illinois, and we have a couple acres, and we've done bees and we've done hogs, but we didn't really stick with those. We have chickens, which our kids absolutely adore. We do organic gardening, so we do organic veggies. We have a small fruit and berry orchard, and we've just always really liked we've always leaned toward the more natural way of life. So essential oils just really fit into that really well. But so I'm homeschooling mom. I also do a lot on social media. I just what started out as kind of keeping family informed about our kids turned into like just a passion for encouraging moms and coming alongside them and helping one another out, not just me helping other moms out, but other moms helping me out as well. I've learned so much from the people that I've met through the internet, and the internet can be an amazing thing. Obviously you have both sides of it, but I have been able to meet people from across the world and just be able to join in their story where I would never have met them face to face. I mean, all over. So it's been really, really cool. And so, yeah, it's been an amazing ride so far. We'll probably talk about that a little bit, but that's just a little bit about our family in a nutshell.
I love it. And that's why, for anyone listening, you can hear her passion, but also why you want to learn from this girl. With 8 kids and a farm, and you got animals. And one time I was talking to her, she's like, "Oh, I gotta go till." I'm like, what? You know, that's just how she is. So I'm putting up, for everyone watching, I just put up your YouTube, your Instagram, your Facebook, and your groups. So I just put all that up on Facebook for people watching.
Yeah. So if you're crazy enough to come along this ride with me, like check it out. There's some, yeah, I usually keep it real because that's the only thing I've got time for. But yeah, you kind of see a little glimpse of real life inside of my very crazy and loud family.
And I think that's why people love you and they relate to you, because you are so real. You know, that we feel like we know you, right? Which people appreciate. You're authentic to you and your family. So, okay, so let's talk about how you got started. That's a good story.
Okay, so it's funny because when you live a life where you have kind of a public aspect to it, you tend to talk about everything. And I mean, Bonnie knows this. I'm a talker. I'm a total talker. I have that personality where I can literally have a conversation. I feel bad when I talk to people who are more reserved because they'll like shut up as I'm talking. I'm like, no, just talk at the same time. Like I'm a talker and a listener, so I can listen to somebody talk.
No,
And I probably come off as super rude to some people. But it's just that excitement with connecting with people. It runs in our family. So if you ever come to like a family event, it's like a bar scene at 2 a.m. I mean, like everybody's yelling and talking and having their own conversations, and yet everybody's listening to what's going on. So, so when you
that's how we are too. It's with a big family. It's the only way to like get anything done.
It is. It totally is. And it's kind of scary because the more kids you have, the louder they get, just so that they can, kind of up the decibel to where they need to be heard.
Yeah.
So now it's like, if we lived in town, I'm sure our neighbors would hate us. But so yeah, so when you have that public aspect to your life, I mean, I'm pretty much an open book. I keep some things obviously for our own family, but like if you ask me like what I'm learning, I may not know everything, but I'm going to verbally vomit like what I do know and hopefully help you out in some way. And so when I got rolling with essential oils, I remember making a post and I'm like, people were like, why, you can't post about this. Like there's so much controversy surrounding like what company and what's best and how to use them. And I remember I'm like, I'm totally new, like, give me all your wisdom. And oh my goodness, I had like probably one of the most comments on any post I've ever had. And that was probably right about the same time you were getting into essential oils.
Okay.
And there was just so much noise. It was almost hard to really learn about them because I have 8 kids. Like, I don't have time to sort through everything, and so I just have to move on something. And so Bonnie was somebody I really, like, I knew for a long time, I trusted. And she's like, hey, if you're going to do this, like, do it the right way. Let me send you a book. She sent me some oils, and literally, I think that book was a big part of it because it was like everything I needed to know in kind of a condensed form in one resource. And I just started going, okay, what can I use for this? And what can I use for that? When you have a family of 10 people, there's always something. I mean, I've got 4 boys. I feel like we crack our heads open on things like on a semi-regular basis. So like, wound care and ear issues and sleep. We had a baby. We had just had our 8th baby.
Right. Yeah.
He was just a couple months old, which ironically we named Cypress before we even knew about.
I never even connected the dots. That is so weird. I never connected that until you just said that. That is
even back in August.
Oh my gosh.
Using them. I didn't even know Cypress was an oil. So
yeah.
It's actually one we use a lot right now. So it's kind of funny.
That is so funny.
But yeah. So it's just, I started using them. And as I started using them, not that I shouldn't be surprised that things that natural work, because we've always leaned, I feel like we're in this weird group of like somewhat crunchy, but not on the side of like religiously crunchy. So we run this kind of medium ground. And so I it's not surprising they would work to me, but I was really surprised with how much I could use them for. So the big thing was sleep support for our 8th baby. We have a loud house. I've talked to you about. So it's loud.
Right.
Kids have to learn to just sleep. And so being able to like grab lavender at nap time and at bedtime and be able to have something that was natural that would just really help him sleep for more than 5-10 minutes at a time. Because I've had some babies that are great nappers, and then I've had some that I feel like the minute you lay them down and you walk away, it's over. And so it really, really helped support really good naps for him and bedtime routines. My husband actually, he has a seasonal job. So in the winter, he has a beard. He's my bearded babe in the house in winters. And so he would actually put it in his beard. And so then when he was holding the baby, he would be breathing it in. And so like, how hot is that, right? You got your bearded husband, like using your essential oils and your baby. It was a perfect thing. And so I started talking about it with people, and I started kind of saying, oh, this works for this. And people really have already known, I've already talked about this a ton, and we've touched on this a little bit right now, but our personalities in our family revolve around, let me say this compliantly, hyperactivity and attention issues.
Yes.
And for us, we all treated it like kind of like a blessing. So my dad is like this. I'm like this. My aunt's like this. My grandfather was like this. But if you got all of us in a room and we wanted to do something, you better believe it was going to get done. And it was going to get done that night. And it was going to be like, we tear it apart and put it back together 10 times to get it the way we wanted it. So a couple of my kids as well have this personality. And while it's a huge blessing directed toward the right way, it can be a challenge as a mom with a kid like that. And so I started doing some research. And so vetiver was a big oil that's been huge in our home. Frankincense, cedarwood, lavender. And so to be able to have something that kind of just takes the edge off of that type of our personality, where it's a little bit, the racing mind is huge for me. Like there's times where I feel like I can't even hold a thought. And so being able to have something that I could use that didn't take away the personality for good, but was able to just help use it and direct it in a good way, if that makes sense. Because like I said, it's a big part of us. It's what makes up our energetic and bubbly personalities. And I didn't want to have to wipe that away.
Right. Yep.
So I started sharing that, and people started asking questions. And just, it's funny because you feel like, oh, there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn. There's so much to learn that you just don't. But when you just start putting one foot in front of the other and just one thing, like it's a natural progression of so many different things that you can use them within your home for.
I love that. I love it. I love that you have a diffuser. This is, I know, in each bathroom. All those points.
We have 6 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. And we have diffusers in every bedroom, and we have them in the bathrooms, and we have them in the living room and the dining room. So pretty much every like spot in our home has a diffuser, and they're running a lot.
Love it. Okay, so you kind of said your top products. Do you have anything else to add on of your top products?
So I feel like, I was it Tamara I watched she was like saying she had to like narrow it down. And so
right, it's hard. The whole kit, everything.
I like to so we're totally on this like not minimalist, but like just reducing what's in our home. But like I get to my oils and I'm like, there's no way I can get rid of any of these. So I'm keeping them all. They're small. They store well.
I'm trying to figure that out with my moving. I'm like, I'm just taking all of them.
I know, right?
We're going to be in the apartment. I need them all.
Like, what do I take? What do I leave behind? They're like my favorites. I'm like, I can't leave this one. So the top products. Okay. So oil wise, top 10s for sure. Mm-hmm. That was definitely like the kit that I started out with. And I think I gravitate to those because there's just, no matter what you have, there's an oil for something in that kit. Yeah. So frankincense, melaleuca, lavender in that kit we've used that's like my wound. It's like my boy spray. Like no matter what, somebody ends up with something bleeding, and that's my go-to for like just helping support healing and skin and all that stuff. So those are big ones. Frankincense and On Guard this winter have been huge. I feel like everybody has the flu. I feel like walking around with a SARS mask on.
For real.
Right? And when you've got, I mean, Bonnie, you know this, your family's huge, with 12 kids and your parents have, when one of you got sick and if all of you ended up getting it. So there's 2 scenarios here, right? It's that everybody and you're literally, so you're, as parents, you're trying to care for 8 kids or 12 kids that are sick and you are sick yourself. It's like, you almost need to bring in a team of people to care for you. It's really, really hard. And then the other way, I don't know if it's easier or harder, is that if everybody gets it one at a time, because then you literally cannot leave or go to church or the YMCA for I don't know, a good 3 months. And then, and then you're scared to go out again. Cause what if we get something else? Yeah. So On Guard's been huge this winter. The beadlets have been awesome because that is one I feel comfortable. Again, you have to gauge on what you're comfortable doing, giving to some of my kids. And I use it a ton. So that's been big. And then my husband's using frankincense also internally for immune support. Deep Blue is that's actually what won my husband over, was Deep Blue. He's got.
Men love the Deep Blue.
I know it's good for, and I love the rub for certain things, and I love the oil for certain things. So we always keep both. But he would use just straight Deep Blue on his feet. He is in the landscaping. He owns a landscaping company, so he's on his feet in the summer all day long. So he uses it on his feet every night. I have been pregnant 8 times. I've had some pretty big babies. So our first was over 10 pounds, believe it or not. My husband's 5'6". I'm 5'5". Where we end up with 10-pound babies is beyond me, because we are one step above hobbits. We are small people. I grab 4'7". Tons of people under 5 foot in our family. And I had this first baby that's 10 pounds, 1 ounce. I'm like, where does this come from? So my feet are essentially flat because they have just been used, and abused through 8 pregnancies and carrying all that weight. So lavender, like I've already talked about, is good for, for us for sleep. Serenity, again, is something I diffuse nightly within my kids' bedrooms. Oregano, I struggled with, bladder issues after my, 8th child was born. I don't know if it was a hormonal thing, but I never had, I'm trying to say this compliantly.
I know.
Bladder hurt.
Yeah. How to be compliant.
I know. But that's something I didn't want to have to reach for prescription medications for, although I know that I could have very easily done that. And so I was able to do something naturally that really helped with that. And to have it, ready to go and not having to, I know what it is. Like, you know what it is right away. It's not like you need a doctor to tell you for that. And to be able to have something within my own fingertips to be able to help with that was huge. And then digestion is another one we keep in our car all the time because we have a child that has motion sickness. So to help alleviate nausea and just the headaches and stuff that goes with that motion sickness, to have something that's supportive of his body for that is big. He even gets it on the swing. So like if he's playing outside, he will end up, not feeling well, and he will come in and ask for oils. So those have been big. Obviously my squirrel spray, which is what I've dubbed our
squirrel spray now.
Squirrel spray. So if anybody has seen the movie Up,
Squirrel
I know the dogs that they're paying attention and they're paying attention. All of a sudden there's a squirrel and they're gone.
Yep.
So that's why I've dubbed it that. So that we use daily on our 5-year-old boy. Console's been big for my 1-year-old because of separation anxiety issues. About a year old, that really helped with that. And then Clary Sage and Clary Calm. So I have not had an actual cycle for almost 15 years until after our last baby. So, I mean, I've had one here or there, but it was literally back to that pregnancy and then nursing. So there was no, return to normal. And when it returned to normal, it returned to normal. It was insane.
I love how we get so personal on these. They're so great.
Know, right? That's why I said, like, I'm a totally open book when it comes to this. But I mean, it was just like the irritation that came with it, the PMS that came with it. I'm like a horrible person for a week. And then I would cry and then it would be done. But to be able to have something, my husband, and I think somebody else was talking about that, but with the Clary Calm, like it wasn't actually Clary Calm to begin with. It was just pure Clary Sage, which is kind of funny. If you guys ever use straight Clary Sage, to me, it smells a little like instant iced tea. And so I was like going around smelling like instant iced tea for like a week out of every month. And I remember like we dubbed it something completely inappropriate, which I won't say on here, but it made the frustrations go away and I turned into a different person. So it was really, really nice. So mood support, for sure. And then past tense has been another one. Like, it's loud in my house. So, when your head feels like it's going to explode, that's one that I can reach for. That's really good. But
I keep it right here.
I know, right? It's always with me. And
always available.
Because it stings like crazy, but it's like right in here. It's amazing. So yeah, just keep it out of your eyeballs.
Yeah. I love it around the back of my neck. I'm like, I love it. Love how it feels.
Yeah. Works amazing. So those are my oils. My other products, I mean, I use their hair care. I love their hair care. I have 2 curly headed kids. We call them Bob Ross love children because they've got that, just mess of curls that ends up brushing it out. And it's like this huge rat's nest.
Yeah.
The root to tip serum and the glaze we've used for the curls, and that's worked really, really well. And then skincare. I love the skincare. And the lifelong vitality. That's another one I think not a lot of people like hit on, but I wouldn't even take, this is bad, I'm probably gonna hate for this. I didn't really even take a prenatal vitamin because if you really looked into them, the synthetic vitamins and stuff, they're not actually that great for you. They can actually do damage with the synthetic vitamins. We've actually been reading up even on like the synthetic vitamin D. And so to be able to have supplements that I feel like are really, they're from whole foods. So they're actually something that your body can digest and that can use. So that was big. And like I said, I've never been a supplement person before because I just haven't felt comfortable taking a lot of them. And so this is something that adding in, a lot of people say too, like it gives them energy. And I think it just depends on what your body needs. So I almost need less energy sometimes because I can get a little like at the end of the night. Yeah. And I did notice I slept better. So before I would go to bed, I would spend an hour like turning my mind off, trying to purposely turn my mind off. And now when I go to bed, I hit that level of relaxation a lot quicker and I'm able to fall asleep quicker. And it's great.
Keeping you also feeling good the next day. You
Yes.
school your family. You like if the mom is on point and happy, changes the whole dynamic of the day, really.
Yeah. Yes. And actually, it's funny, my at our wedding, at my husband and I's wedding, my dad, his whole speech had to do with happy wife, happy life. Like if you can keep your wife happy,
Yes.
your life will be great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think we've talked about that with on the other videos. I think it was the Clary Calm. I think someone's like, husband, make sure I have that every month. And then someone else was like, the husbands are the ones who are like, never run out of that oil. Even if they're not the ones taking the oil, they know that oil has to be in the house every day and their wife needs to be using it every day because then their life will be better.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and it's funny too. I mean, it just goes to show you, I mean, women are emotional and very like our reality a lot of times can be based on our mood and our emotions. And so if those aren't there, it can skew your reality. I think men are a little bit more detached from their emotions I mean, just the way that God made us, but I feel like women are more attached to they can't compartmentalize their emotions. They can't say, I'm frustrated about this, let me set that aside. I feel like it just plays into your whole being.
Yeah.
And so when you feel off emotionally, when your mood is off, when you're frustrated, when you're angry, when you're sad, it affects everything that you do. And then because we're such outward people, it affects everybody around us as well, our kids, husband. So
and that's why one of the things that we do is it sounds so simple, but one of the ways we empower moms is just grab an oil, go to the other room for like 2 seconds, inhale the rose or the frankincense or the clary calm or whatever. And just by doing that small step can totally change your day and family. That one simple step.
yeah. And that's what you not only have a product that helps you kind of balance your mood, but you have that very quick, and it's doable. I mean, I've got 8 kids. I can't sit and do 10 minutes of meditation, when I'm getting frustrated, but I can go to the bathroom and lock the door and pretend I'm using the bathroom and, cup my hands over my face and breathe.
Yes.
Right?
And we're lucky we can even go to the bathroom alone. Yeah.
Right.
The doors. Our locks sometimes don't even work. So, So, okay. So next question. What made you want to become a wellness advocate?
That's a good story, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Bonnie contacted
You have a lot of good
me
stories. That's why
I know.
you're like famous. If you guys haven't noticed or picked up, she's like famous on Instagram and on YouTube. You can, I would put all the links out, but I don't think they realize she shares her life, especially in video. So you will soon feel like you're best friends with Nicci on her
Right.
YouTube.
Well, I think video lends to a little bit better of somebody's personality. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever had even like audio? It allows you a little bit. Video opens up a whole new window. So when you see a picture of somebody, it's one thing. When you hear their voice, it's another. But when you put the two together, because if you ever read a book and you picture somebody some way, and then you watch the movie and you were sorely disappointed because you had them pinned for something. So I think video allows you to really connect with somebody a little bit better. So it's kind of a cool medium to use, but
you know what you're gonna get.
yeah, and I'm like I said, I'm pretty much, I mean, this is it. This is me. So you're gonna see my messy house and my kids doing their kid thing and probably having a face full of peanut butter and all that stuff, but it's life, it's real life. So but yeah, no, Bonnie contacted me when she first started out. So that was it 2016?
Yeah, the fall.
Due. Literally, I think you called me we connected when I was due, like 2 weeks before I was due. And this was our 8th baby. And I was like looking on, I think that was our 9th year of homeschooling. And I'm like, no, like I had a crochet business. So we have a home flip. So we do a lot of other things too. So I had a crochet business. I taught crochet to 2nd through 12th graders with our homeschool co-op. We were active in our church. I had a construction business that I actually co-owned with my mother. My husband owns his own landscape business. It was just a lot going on. And I said, that's cool. No, thanks. Like, we're learning about oils. I love oils, but right now, like business wise, like I can't even think of another thing. And so that was in August. And then by December, things had calmed down a little bit. And we'll probably get into this a little bit in about talking about how doTERRA has impacted our life, just in general. But my husband has a seasonal business. So in Illinois, he owns a landscaping business. He was doing snow removal in the winters. And for our winters, it's not like the Chicago area. So it's hit or miss whether we get snow. There's some years we get dumped on really heavily, and other years it's pretty much really, really, really cold and miserable, but no snow. So our income was dependent on the weather, which it is a lot in the summer, but it's much more predictable in the summer. And it's also because he's a self-employed. If the business doesn't make money, we don't make money. So it's our winters were basically during the time where we started this business, really, really a struggle. And so by December, I'm thinking of ways that we can, bring in some extra money. And I was already talking about oils, and I was already having people asking me about them. And Bonnie's like, let's do this. Like you can do this. And I'm like, I don't know if you remember. So like, I remember talking to you and I'm like, yes, this is exciting. I freaked my freak. I overwhelmed myself. And the next morning I'm like, what am I doing? And I called her, I'm like, I can't do this. This is too much. Like, I don't know anything. And she's like, back it up, Nicci, like calm down, sniff some vetiver. We're going to get through this. And she kind of just held my hand and walked me through it, which I'm extremely grateful for. And just, fed me one piece of information at a time, probably knowing that with my personality, the minute I would get started, it would be straight through.
You were gonna, and I already knew that. And so if you're listening and if you're an advocate, no just means not right now. That's all that means, right? So keep going.
It's usually the headstrong people that will probably tell you no first. And those headstrong people are the people that can really move some mountains. So Tamara, who was already on, my Australian boss babe, she said no to the business first. She was like, no, not really interested in that. And then she's like, well, maybe I'll try it. And then it was like over. Like she just went.
Done. Yep. I love those.
Yeah.
Good story.
Yeah. So Bonnie kind of just helped me realize, and it's funny too, because all of the credit really has to go to God, because he just aligned things in a way where I'm stubborn. And for him to get a point across to me, sometimes he just has to beat it on my head until I've got like doTERRA written across my forehead, or, homeschooling or whatever. I never thought I'd be a homeschooling mom. Never. Like, I didn't know anybody who homeschooled, and it was the same thing. It was just like something that God kind of chiseled away at. I'm like, nope. And when you close enough doors to God that God opens for you, he just busts them open. He's like, whatever, let's just, throw both of them open. And that's what happened. It just felt like, it kept being brought up and kept being in my conscious, kept, coming back to it. And my husband's finally like, let's just do this. Like, what do we got to lose? Let's try it. You're going to share them anyway. Let's do this. And when I do something, I usually do it. And so we kind of open the floodgates. And like I said, I think, everything happens for a reason, and just the way that everything kind of fell into place. Not that it was easy, but that I kind of did the thing where I knew the part that I could do. I knew, like the preparing of the fields, like the parable of the farmer who prepared his fields, and then allowed God to kind of rain down blessing upon that. And that winter, my husband, we decided that he was not going to do snow removal that year, that he was not going to pick up odd jobs, that we were going to work together. And while he's not a huge face to this business, he's a huge part of it as a support. I mean, he's my best friend. We've grown up together, and he's amazing. So to be able to have that support, I know, right? He's like awesome. So to be able to have that support, and we just said, for you to stay home, we have to make this worth it. And so I poured everything into it that year, that winter. And then by spring, we're like, this works. I mean, 3 months later, we were platinum, and we're like, what? Like, this is insane. And so like this winter, the winter that we're in right now, like he's down in the basement with my kids. He's home full time in the winter. So for those 3 months, he's with us. I'm almost scared his season's about to start up again. And I'm like, I'm going to miss him.
Oh,
But,
that makes me so happy. You don't even know.
yeah, it's just huge. So like I said, I feel like, God placed Bonnie in my life at the right time, and all the, also some of my leaders. I mean, like, I came on with my top three, and they were people that I knew, but the leaders that came in under them were people that I'd really not known before. And so now are people that I pray for and talk to, and just have this awesome, deep relationship with, that I feel like I'm super glad. Like, I don't think they even know, like, how amazing it is to be a part of their life, and for them to be a part of mine, and to be able to have that kind of sisterhood with like-minded women that I never would have met
Yes.
outside of this. So
I was gonna say, I feel like the same way about you, because we have grown with nothing to do with doTERRA, even just with faith and family, and just having that other good friend, someone that you can trust and talk to. I'm like, we've talked about that in all these videos, that it brings all these relationships that you need in your life at that exact time. And every single person, I believe, that has come on in some sort of ways, like, this was meant to be, this was God. Like, it is very weird, and I feel the exact same way.
it is
Literally building our businesses.
and I think women thrive in this type of business. Not that men can't. We've got men on our teams, and they're amazing, and they offer their own strengths, and like I said, we're all different, but I feel like women crave that a little bit more. Maybe the men, it's not as big a part of their business, but women, that community, and that, like I said, we're emotional and connection, relation based people. So that it's just a glue. It's a glue that holds everybody together. That's really cool. And with the structure, I think Jenny talked about this a little bit. The structure of this network marketing business is completely different from most, whereas you are actually encouraged to help, not even just encouraged, but like monetarily encouraged to help out those underneath you, so that everybody rises together. And that's where I've looked at the business models of other network marketing businesses, and you almost put you in competition with everybody else. And women don't need any to be catty. I mean, they just don't, because we tear each other up when we do that. It can get, and to be able to be in this atmosphere and not have that in there, because that's not the way the business is structured, is really cool.
And luckily, our team is so positive and motivating. We have cross-line leaders encouraging and helping, and everybody just lifts everyone up. I mean, I'm not gonna say there's no drama, but there's really little to no drama. Our whole team, just those thousands of people, that are working, and or 500 or 600 or 700 actively working, and everyone supports each other. It's awesome. It's awesome.
And just the respect for one another. It's an awesome community.
Yeah, I love it. So the big question: how has doTERRA impacted your life?
So you got to kind of start from the beginning. So the products have impacted our lives in ways that I've always just, like, big pharma. I have a very big respect for modern medicine. I think there's a time and a place for it. I'm really glad that my kids aren't going to die of something that they could have died from 100 years ago, because we don't have that modern medicine. But it's not the first thing that I go for a sniffle, or for a cut, or for when the pollen comes out in the spring. And to be able to have something that's supportive, before we would just kind of suffer through it, because it's not worth, the risks of all this stuff. But now to have something that's supportive of our bodies, that doesn't carry with it all the negative, that what I was avoiding with it, is huge. I mean, my husband, I used to laugh. So my husband used to drink NyQuil. I mean, it was like his nightly thing in the winter, when and he got head colds and all this stuff. I mean, like NyQuil, like we had to keep NyQuil on. It's over the counter. It's not like it's a huge prescription, but it was one thing that, like, I have not seen him take anything over the counter unless he absolutely has to, in probably a good year and a half. Yeah. And he grew up very, very traditionally. So I grew up my parents were a little bit more hippie, especially in their younger years. Like, we lived in a house that had a rock garden and a wood stove heat. So our wood stove, we had a wood stove that heated the whole house. There was no central heat. and we had a rock garden. So it was all, my dad actually went into business.
Those are coming back around. Those are coming back.
Into business. His main thing was passive solar design. So that's how he became a contractor. So
Okay.
I grew up in a more naturally minded, like more hippie type mindset, whereas my husband grew up in a very like, the minute you have a runny nose, you get an antibiotic for it. So for him to change his thinking, I mean, he's kind of leaned that way our whole marriage, but now you can totally, he uses the oils as much or more than I do. Usually he's the one that like sneaks up behind me and starts rubbing something on my neck, right?
Oh, that's a goal. It's a mom goal. Get your husband to rub you down with oils.
Right? And so that's kind of cool to see that switch with him. And like I said, just a more, it goes, definitely fits in line with our personalities and our family. Friend wise, like I said, it just being able to get at a different level with people that maybe I've met over the internet, or that I've, with in real life, and just be able to build that deeper relationship. And then financially, it's made a huge difference. So like I said, my husband owns a landscaping business, but you almost have to go back a little bit further than that. So my husband was, he was a union pipe fitter. They make pretty good money. They have really great benefits. And he worked, locally most of the time. And then when the construction stuff hit, when the crash hit, we live, like I said, in a more rural area. So we were the first impacted with that. And he had been in that business, I want to say since I was in high school, because I actually remember right after he got out of high school, I was still in high school. He worked in my school, which was really weird, right? He was back doing a job in our school because he got in really young. So he was in that trade. And like I said, it always supported our business. I was able to stay home with our kids. I mean, I retired basically at 19 when I was, or 20, when I had our first child, and never went back to work. We always wanted me to stay home. We'd always had, a pension and, a retirement. And then all of a sudden this crash came on and he lost his job, and he had never even been out of work. And so we thought maybe it's temporary. And so we kind of hung on for a little while, and then we realized like, this isn't coming back anytime soon. And there at the end, he was traveling out of state. He was gone most weeks. I joked that he was home long enough to get me pregnant and like see the baby be born. You know what I mean? Like he would be home on weekends, and that was it.
Did his job.
This was when we had 4 or 5 really small kids, and being a single mom throughout the week. Like I feel for you single moms and the military families and all that, because it's hard. You don't get a break. It's just really, really hard. So that was something we hated. And finally he said, I'm not going to go back. We're not going to do this. We're going to start something on our own. So we started a landscape business, but a big conviction was ours to start it without debt, or at least without a lot of debt. When you start a business, anybody of you has started businesses, it comes with a lot of expense. I laugh that doTERRA, we talk about our startup costs and doTERRA and how to run a business. And I'm like, the startup cost on this business is nothing compared to what most brick and mortar businesses are. I mean, we bought trucks and equipment and, business insurance and, all of this stuff that went along with it. So we basically took all of our savings and all of our safety net and all of my husband's, pension, and we put it in this business. And anybody that started a business also knows that you don't make a lot of money your first couple of years when you're gaining your clients and all that stuff. So we had some years. I remember being in a parking garage in the winter. We had our kids have an eye condition where one eye turns in, and so we have surgeries and eye appointments and all this other stuff. And it was during the winter, and I had like $3 in our checking account. I mean, and I did not remember to bring cash with me because I'm a mom of a whole bunch of kids. I couldn't get out of the parking garage because I didn't have enough cash in my wallet, and there was an ATM in there, but I think the minimum you could take out was like $10, and we didn't have it in there. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, I just remember thinking like, I don't ever want to be here before, and God has always provided, obviously the next, batch of money from my husband's business came in, but at that feeling like that, it just really sucks. And so, we had some seasons that were like that were just slim, that were, we have to put off this, and we put off this. And then of course in the summer would come and my husband would be making really good money, but then we would be paying for all the things that we put off, you know, the dentist appointment, all this. And, you know, part of owning your own business is private insurance. And about this time too, we had decided that we weren't going to have any more kids. We had 5 kids. We surgically closed the door to having babies. My husband surgically, that was 5 kids. And then, so when in this really tough, struggly season, when I don't have maternity coverage because my husband had had vasectomy, I mean, there was no point in having maternity coverage. We get pregnant with our 6th baby. And we're like, how does, you know, you always hear those people that get pregnant after that.
We're not in control, Nicci.
I know.
Not in control. Let me try.
It was definitely a God thing. And it was the best surprise ever. Ezra is like, I couldn't have been more surprised if I woke up with my head sewn to the carpet type of surprise, but an awesome one, but scary because we were in that season of struggle and we're like, what are you doing here? Like, what is going on? And, you know, there's an old saying that, you know, every baby's born with a loaf of bread under their arm, meaning like there's always something that comes with it usually that provides. And it was just one of those things where I remember thinking, oh my goodness, like, what are we going to do now? And of course, you know, thinking that it was a fluke, we didn't think it was that easy to we got pregnant with our 7th and our 8th. And obviously, you know, as the business went on and it got a little bit easier, but still there was that season of struggle every winter. And so to be able to have an income that matches my husband's now, that in the winter, like this winter, he stayed home, our bills were paid, and we traveled to the Dominican, like the Dominican Republic. We earned a free trip. We had not been anywhere tropical and warm since our honeymoon. And really hadn't had an overnight really since we did convention. That was our first overnight in like 15 years. So like to be able to connect with my
you like the whole time, which was fine because I'm like, they're on their 2nd honeymoon, but I'm like, you guys really connected.
It was so much fun. And so the big thing for us is just, it's been, and financially obviously is a part of that, but it's allowed us to dream again. So, you know, that when you get stuck in this survival, it's hard to be a blessing to other people because you're so worried about how you're going to make bills and how you're going to, I mean, 8 kids is a lot of kids. Our food bill is more than our mortgage.
I believe that.
So, you know, and orthodontists and, you know, we're getting that age now where my oldest is going to be driving at the end of the year. So driver's ed and, you know, all that stuff. So when you're in this place where you're barely making it by yourself, it's hard to think out. It almost it made me feel a bit selfish because it's hard to think of how you can help others. And obviously I could help them, you know, with my time and my energy. But sometimes like helping others takes monetary time, you know, stuff from yourself, takes finances from yourself, the financial freedom to be able to have the time to be able to do that. So you're not working every day of the week, that my husband's not working every day of the week. So to be able to have that and know that there's income coming in outside of what my husband does, and I still get to homeschool my kids. I still get to stay home with my kids. I still get to be the mom that I decided I wanted to be at 20 when we had our first that is here, has been huge. But to dream has opened up, it's brought my husband and I closer because all of a sudden now I feel like we're almost like in that honeymoon stage again where we can imagine anything now. And financially, you'd think now that we're dreaming about, you know, driving a Lexus or living in a big house. And it's funny now that the more that we have available to us, the less that we really care about all that stuff. Whereas before, you know, it's like, how are we gonna pay for the car if it breaks down? Now it's more like I really don't care what I drive. Like the time freedom, having my husband home with me, having the ability for him to take those 3 months off and do whatever we want, is huge. Doing life with Mike is like the best thing ever, to be able to have him alongside me, and to be able to have him be a dad where that's really involved with his kids. Because with 8 kids, it is hard to be involved one-on-one with them. But when we're both home, it makes it a lot easier. And obviously he's going to be going back to work during the season, but we're planning on traveling a lot next winter, which is huge because my income is mobile. So I can do, I mean, most of my work is done from, I'm sitting here in my bedroom, like on my cell phone talking to you. So like a lot of my work can be done on my cell phone and wherever we are. So
I can't wait to watch you guys travel. We're all living through. Like you're literally living the dream. How many people want to like homeschool and have their husbands home and live on this beautiful farm and then travel and take off and like.
Before we had kind of talked about it, but there was no way we could do it without our home. And that was just something that I was not, this is where our kids grew up. I mean, we bought this place when our oldest was like 18 months old, and we built a house here. I designed this house, like literally drew it, not like I picked a plan and modified it. Like I drew it from scratch on a drawing board. So my dad's an architect and a contractor. So I'd always done that growing up. I drew houses. I would draw what I want our house to look like. I still have sketches in my journal from when I was like 15 of houses that I thought my husband and I would want to live in. And this embodies that. So I wanted to hold on to it. It's something that we've worked for, and that, always when we were, first married and starting to have kids, this is what I dreamed of. And so I didn't want to let this go, but I've got that like hippie gypsy soul inside of me that I have to feed occasionally. And so that allows me to have that and still come back and have roots. So, to be able to have the wings to go places and experience things and show my kids stuff, but still have the roots of like, this is where I grew up and I want my grandkids to visit me here is really cool.
Get your RV and patchouli oil.
I know, right? Right. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little bit hippie, a little bit crunchy, a little bit like mainstream, and I don't know, a whole lot of other stuff. So
that's what makes you unique. Okay, so you talked a little bit about your goals, but so is there anything to add? Because you kind of were hitting that at the same time.
So my first big goal was diamond by December. That was like, I had like hashtagged, and I had this thing. And for me, December embodied my husband's season, back to where now we got to think of where income comes from. And I didn't want him to be gone at some menial job because he just needed to earn some extra money and make ends meet. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He did that. He's supported our whole family on his own shoulders for our entire marriage. He's amazing, and he will do what needs to be done to be able to have that burden lifted, and him just be able to enjoy his family for 3 months after working his butt off all summer, because his summer is insane. He deserves it. And to be able to, after all this time, to be able to kind of not allow him to do it, because it's not like I did it all on my own. He's a huge part of it, but to be able to have him enjoy that blessing is big. And so for me, my goal now, because I hit diamond, it is now really to take that organization, and eventually I want to hit blue, and I want to hit presidential, and I want to keep going. I stop, but is to be able to help my leaders feel that way. Like, yep. As cool as it is for me to be able to walk that stage as diamond, or to be able to do it, it was a little bit, and I don't, this is not in a negative way, kind of anticlimactic, because it was like, almost like, okay, that's great, I did this, but I want them to know this. I want my team to know this. Like, I want them to experience not the rank and not the, ooh, look what she did, but the stuff that goes with it. The ability to go, like, every Wednesday, there's enough in my account to pay whatever bill you want to pay that month, or to, buy groceries, or to help their husband, make ends meet, or whatever they want to do with it, whatever their why is, to be able to be one step closer every single Wednesday and 15th of the month toward that goal. I want them to experience it, because that's intoxicating. And to be able to have it myself is one thing, but to be able to help others do it is a whole new level of awesome.
I love that. And you are helping them by, one, you're paving the path. You are leading by example. I mean, you give back a lot in time, finances, everything. You give back, but you're also planting the seeds that they can do it. Like, even just by sharing this and everything that you do on your team page, like, they are believing it now because they're seeing you do it. It's not just like some random girl, some in the States is doing it, or someone they don't know. Like, they actually know you and you're doing it.
Yeah.
So and that's huge help.
Yeah. It's been amazing. It's been a really cool journey. And like I said, it's something that I've never been in network marketing. I've always, oh, do you really, can you really make money? Can you really make a difference? Can it be done in a way, for me, can it be done in a way with integrity? Because I've seen a lot of people do it wrong. And I've seen a lot of people, go about it the wrong way. And I think what drew me really to, obviously I was loving what I was doing, but even loving what I was doing, if I couldn't find a way to go about it with authenticity and with integrity, I didn't want to do it. But like I said, watching Bonnie do it and seeing just it's naturally sharing, and it's not, I'm not a salesy person. I'm not at all. And actually, even with my YouTube channel, actually, I just filmed a video about this, about brand deals. I get contacted all the time to do brand deals. I don't do a lot of them. I don't do 99% of them because I just don't feel like, if it's not something I use, and if it's not something I love, and it's not something I would personally spend my money on, if they were not giving it to me, I'm not going to talk about it, because it's just not, I feel I didn't want to do it in a way that I felt fake. And I can do this, the authenticity that I require of myself, in a way that I feel good about.
I love it. And I think people, at least from me watching you, we all feel that. So you're doing that.
Awesome.
Last question. So if someone here is listening who has never used oils before, what would you say to them?
I feel like this answer goes for everybody, though. Like, I feel like you're going to have like 20 people on every, just do it. Like, right? Just do it. Like,
Yeah.
you really have to lose. I mean, come on, really. And it is kind of fun. It's funny. I totally felt like an uneducated chemist when I first started. Like, I'm mixing all these concoctions, and I'm like, because there's really not a whole lot you can do wrong with them. I mean, people get all freaked out about like, can you, it's not like bleach and ammonia here, folks. Like, you can put balance and elevation together. Like,
Well, no problem using that, which that's a story.
So yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's empowering, because you start to realize like you have the tools, and you have the tools that are brought to you by nature in their purest form. Because I mean, oh my goodness, with marketing stuff, like, you don't know what's up now. Like, and so it's nice to have a company that kind of oversees that for you, but in the same sense is so transparent that anytime you want to peek into what they're doing, they're like, open book, here you go. You know what I mean? It's not like anything's being hidden, and they're totally open. And it's a company that not only that I can resonate with because of the products, but the mission mindedness of them, like what they do on a day-to-day basis, and being able, like at the Dominican Republic, being able to meet them face to face. I was laughing so hard because Dr. Hill was, it's funny because you kind of like, these are the big wigs here, and they've been doing this for a long time. So it is a little bit intimidating. And then you go up to him, and he was talking about, I'm going to embarrass myself here, but we were talking about kids, and how he's an empty nester now. And then he's like, we can walk around in our underwear if we want. And I'm like, this dude is my dude. Like, just totally real and totally.
That's another goal then for the future.
I know, right? And so just yeah, the people are amazing. They're genuine and they're relatable. Like, one thing that really sets me into nervousness is somebody that is super formal and talks real. And so just to be able to come up to him, and then he's like talking about, I'm like, I am like, this is my type of people. This is my tribe here. So
oh my gosh.
Have that
when he watches this video, like, thanks for sharing. Oh, I love it. Awesome. Nicci, you are awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a lot of people watching live. I know a ton of people are going to be watching the recording. I was putting up all of your places of where they can go, but do you want to tell people again where they can find you?
Oh my goodness. So what started off as just a small thing is turned into everything. So I have a blog that I'm really bad at updating, but it's afarmhouseful.com. Probably the best thing that I update the most is my Instagram, because it's easy. And that's just, the tag is A Farmhouse Full. So it's instagram.com/afarmhouseful, or just at A Farmhouse Full. Facebook, I've got stuff that I have, like a landing page for stuff, and that's just facebook.com/A Farmhouse Full. And then I've got my oils group. So mine is a closed group. So if you want to join it, you'll have to just ask to join. And then I pretty much approve everybody. But that's facebook.com/groups/farmhouse oils. And so, yeah, there's a ton of stuff. And then YouTube. YouTube is one that I feel like I connect best with, because it allows you to really show people and talk to people in this kind of way. And that's just youtube.com/afarmhouseful.
Love it. And I was putting them up here again.
Yeah. Pretty much everything's A Farmhouse Full except my group, and that's Farmhouse Oils. So
She's still branded. Awesome. So again, thank you. Your story's awesome. Like, seriously, I never get sick of hearing it, and I learned a few new things about you, and I think you've inspired a lot of women. One person asked, can they use Clary Calm on their teenager girl for monthly?
Yeah.
And you want to use it on her. I use it on my she's 12-year-old now, so yeah, you want to help, especially naturally, the best you can now. So very good, awesome, thank you so much, and I will have the recording up, and we will be back for another interview soon. So thank you, Nicci, you're awesome. All right, thanks, bye.